It's recap time. I bring you one more recap. Today I'll be explaining a horror mystery movie called Five Nights at Freddy's, released in 2023. The film starts with a scary action sequence featuring a security guard escaping the premises of a building. The guard makes use of the underground vents to run for his life and remain alive. Soon enough, the security person is chased down by an unidentified object and pinned against a seat. At last, a scary metal face zooms into the guard while he remains unsuccessful in saving his life. The scene shifts to Mike, a middle-aged man working in a similar job. At first, Mike introduces a dream theory to his colleague, which talks about the possibility of controlling objects in dreams and subconsciousness. The theory seems implausible and made up by his colleague, who ignores the idea. A diligent Mike finds out about a man kidnapping a kid inside the mall. He chases down the man and separates the kid from his hold. Being a security person, Mike beats the crap out of the guy and punishes him for trying to kidnap a kid. Instead of getting a promotion, Mike gets demoted because the man turns out to be the actual father of the kid. Eventually, the security person is fired from his job and sent to a career counselor. Mike faces difficulty getting another job due to his troubled nature and is rejected from different places. Mike gets an offer for a nighttime guard but has to reject it due to his little sister. We get to know about Mike's troubled past and how he will lose custody of his sister if he doesn't take up the job. Faced with no alternatives, Mike agrees to work at a scary place called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Mike reaches the place at night and discovers several animatronic mascots. He falls asleep on his first duty night and gets into a recurring dream. In the dream scenario, Mike runs after a strange kid and stumbles into a rock. This wakes him up from his sleep, and the scary shift is completed. In the morning, Mike meets up with his babysitter and relieves her from duty. In a surprising turn of events, the babysitter betrays Mike and is shown to be complicit with Mike's aunt. The evil aunt hatches a conspiracy to blame Mike for child negligence and get custody of his little sister. The aunt makes sure to destroy his new working place and get the plan working. The second night of the scary shift begins for Mike. As he enters the pizza place's premises, he gets into a comfortable place and falls asleep. The security guard gets into the same recurring dream and decides to chase a different kid this time around. As Mike gets hold of one of them, the kid uses a hook to slash Mike's hand. This leaves the security person in total shock until he wakes up from his dream. Mike realizes that someone is at the door, and he attends to it. A female officer by the name of Vanessa greets Mike and reveals that she has been a fan of Fazbear's Pizza since she was a kid. The duo shares a deep conversation and leaves in the morning. The bad guys, including the babysitter and her brother, notice that Mike has left the door open. They try to execute their plan and destroy the entire place. At first, one of the bad guys starts to hit the gaming machine with a baseball bat. He notices a sound coming from one of the cupboards and decides to open it up. He finds one of the animatronic mascots named Mr. Cupcake inside it. The object sits still but vanishes as soon as the man moves away from the cupboard. This scares the living hell inside the goon, and he tries to escape. Another scary animatronic, Chica, holds Mr. Cupcake in his hand and blinks in front of the goon. Mr. Cupcake launches into the goon and kills him on the spot. This leads to a series of killings by the animatronics. One of the goons is spotted by Chica, who runs off and hides in a storeroom. The scene gets even more scary when the hiding good is trapped and killed by Freddy Fazbear himself. Soon enough, another animatronic mascot comes after the brother of the babysitter and eliminates him. A tired babysitter gets out of the car and decides to look into the matter. As soon as she enters the premises, the babysitter notices a kid running inside the pizza place. She follows him, and it leads her to Freddy the animatronic. A voice comes from Freddy, and the babysitter moves inside its mouth to hear the sound. The animatronic gobbles her up and tears the sitter into two pieces. The massacre by the animatronics comes to an end. Meanwhile, Vanessa, the officer, pays a visit to Mike and discusses his recurring dream. She offers to help Mike and suggests that he stop falling asleep at the place. When Mike leaves for the night shift, he has to take his sister with him due to the absence of the babysitter. When he reaches the place, he learns about the destruction. A disappointed Vanessa leaves the place and Mike is left with no option but to clean the place and start his night shift again. Mike makes a sleeping place for his sister and gets back to the monitor to guard the place. As usual, he falls asleep and dreams up the same dream. This time around, the kids do not run in his dream. They sit with him in silence, and Mike finally has a chance to ask them about his abducted brother. The dream kid tells him that he knows where his brother is and leaves a drawing on the ground. The drawing reflects a rabbit animatronic. Mike wakes up from the dream and finds his sister missing. A startled Mike notices that the animatronics have surrounded her sister. The security person reaches out to his sister and takes her away. Mike learns about the secret of the animatronics and how they come alive and interact with others. Mike also learns about the drawing that his sister made. He finds out that she can interact with the animatronics and learn about his missing brother, since the animatronics are the spirits of these dream children. When Mike's met with Vanessa the next morning, she told him that she already knew about the entire thing. She also warns Mike not to interact with one of the baby animatronics, which can hurt him seriously. The animatronics start to get friendly and play with Mike, Vanessa, and the kid. Soon enough, the entire thing shuts down due to a shock, and Mike's sister faints. Vanessa warns Mike to never bring her back to the place and return home. The next day, Mike takes help from his evil aunt to look after his sister. This infuriates his siblings, who believe that Mike is giving up on her. Later on, when Mike reaches back to Fazbear's place, he puts on his headphones and takes a nap. The same recurring dream leads Mike into a tough spot. The children in his dream inquire about his sister and present him with a condition. In order to find his missing brother, he must sacrifice his sister. Initially, Mike agrees to the condition but regrets it immediately. All of a sudden, the children disappear, and Mike wakes up from his dream. Mike encounters the same killer animatronic from the start of the film. This time, the evil animatronic zooms into his face and tries to kill him. However, Mike is able to rescue himself by getting out of the grip. As soon as he tries to get out of the building, he is trapped again by another animatronic. Back at his home, Mike's sister is taken back to Fazbear's by one of the animatronics, who also kills her aunt. Meanwhile, Vanessa rescues Mike from the place and reveals that her dad kidnapped his brother. She also reveals that the animatronics not only possess the spirit of the children, but also their bodies. Mike decides to safeguard her sister and returns to the place. This time around, he learns that animatronics have one weakness: electricity. Mike infiltrates the place using the vent and gets inside the place. Mike finds her sister with Chica and uses his electric taser to knock it down. When he starts to escape, he is stopped by Mr. Cupcake, who bites him in the leg. Mike falls down and tries to fight with the animatronic. He also tells his sister to run for his life. When the sister gets trapped with another animatronic, Vanessa arrives at the scene. She makes fun of the robot and distracts him. Eventually, she uses the taser and electrifies it. Meanwhile, Mike is able to free himself from Mr. Cupcake using the same electricity. At last, a big rabbit robot confronts the group. He overpowers Mike and knocks him unconscious. He is able to pin him to the ground and reveal his identity. It turns out that the robot rabbit was the same guy who hired Mike for the job and the guy who kidnapped his brother, which means that he is none other than Vanessa's dad. The female officer was involved with the plan and was told to restrict Mike from learning the truth. However, her sympathy with Mike led to a change of heart. Vanessa tries to shoot the rabbit robot, but it is of no use. Eventually, he wakes up the rest of the animatronics and orders them to finish Mike and everybody else. Vanessa informs Mike that once the animatronic learns the complete truth, they might help him in the process. The rabbit robot stabs Vanessa and tries to finish her off. Mike asks his sister to take a picture of the truth and replace the fake drawing with the real one. When she replaces the drawing, the animatronics Chica, Foxy, Freddy, and Mr. Cupcake learn about the truth. They remember that the rabbit guy was the one who trapped them inside the animatronics. Mr. Cupcake takes a bite from the rabbit robot's chest and attacks him further. The spring inside his chest makes him suffer, and eventually the rest of the animatronic drags him further. The entire place dismantles and starts to crumble down, while Vanessa, Mike, and his sister barely escape. The scene shifts to a new day where Mike watches his sister play like normal kids. He believes that everything will be normal with her, as he has received full custody. Later on, he visits Vanessa, who is currently in a coma, and promises to return until she gets normal. Towards the end, we find an injured rabbit robot, aka William, placed inside the Fazbear's place. One of the kids watches him suffer in pain and closes the door. The movie ends here. I hope you liked this movie recap. Please comment down on what you liked about this movie and what scene you liked, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.